Hey guys, Tim May here from my house again in New Orleans. I feel like I'm on a roll giving you videos, but it's nice to actually have the time to do that. I don't always have that, so I wanted to take advantage of that. And in this quick video, I want to talk for a second. Music, I feel like in music we get a lot of clues about the nature of reality. I think that for me, particularly, I can get a lot of clues in music from the 70s, 80s, and even the 90s. And I love like the older like Nirvana and Alice in Chains and things. And I feel like they're messages. I know you might be like, "Oh my God, like that sounds Yes, they're like messages. And I would bet the masses will often not get the translation, not understand the true meaning. I recently did a video um, on two lost souls swimming in a fish bowl. I was actually really proud of myself for that, as I knew naturally a lot of people would think that it's two lost souls, like two humans in the fish bowl, which but then when we figure out that it's two souls, as in like souls of the feet, and then when we know the zodiac and that the zodiac is the feet are Pisces, and then we know that makes a lot of sense with the two souls, you know. So they sing to us delivering messages. Because you have to think how interesting music is to start with, how it's composed, the whole thing. Think about just, and I'm going to do a video on this soon, but not now, on the what I feel when they say rock and roll. Why would they think on the rock and roll? That doesn't make any sense. What does a rock have to do with any of this? Black rock. Yeah, okay. Well, there's definitely a connection there. This video thing, I'm just going to tell you guys, it's really weird. It's like you're on one, you're like the reverse side of you. It's very strange. Um, it's very strange. It's just very strange. You sit here and you talk like you're just talking to yourself. So I will get used to it because I want to talk to you. Because my whole agenda here, my whole goal is to help you and to offer to you my knowledge, right? Knowledge is power. I know we're all in this, we don't know things. And those of us that are on this frequency can certainly use some interesting, fresh ideas. And so anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, but what I want to say is there's one song that and I almost don't want to tell you because it's going to get stuck in your head. So it'll just go in your head and your head. So it's Alice in Chains, Down in a Hole. And Alice in Chains, right? Down in a hole. Could it not be that we are down in a hole? So, like black hole sun, right? So, wherever we are, it's not where they tell us. And then the things are so ridiculous here. And I know I said this in the last video, but like I was just reading about it today, just looking up what they say as far as the distance of the wandering stars. Venus, Mercury, Mars, like I was just thinking about that today and how ridiculous that is. But if we were somehow down in a hole, which I believe is very true. Now, what that could mean for you as far as like do you think you were reincarnated? Were you in a different life? Were you a different person before this situation? Like, do you think so? I actually think that it's very likely that in this life we have little deaths, and actually, when you actually, if you think about that, going down a hole could really happen if you had died. And I have certainly had feelings of slipping dimensions. I have absolutely have feelings of alternate dimensions. Okay. So much different from dreams. That is very strange too. I mean, what are we doing when we sleep? And I want to tell you something else interesting. The uh the word for in Latin for day is die. So so do we have little deaths all the time? Think about the little when we were young and the little prayer that we said. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. Who's the Lord? Was it Saturn? Hmm. So it certainly wasn't in this inverted world. It wasn't what we thought it was. So I think we can agree on that. So what I'm saying is I think there's a lot of little deaths if I can explain that. Well, I think that if your memory can be wiped, if you can wake up from a dream and not know anything, except little here and there, okay, then who's to say that you couldn't have little deaths in this lifetime? And it could explain the Mandela, which should be mandala effect, okay? Shifting, right? Days are dying. I mean, you wouldn't know. Now, as far as the alien thing, I always think like a lion, is that another just another psyop sort of thing? You have to be really weary of even the truth community at this point with all the mud flood and alien stuff. And I'm not saying, and actually the Anunnaki and the Lyrian, I have read about these things and there is some things that could make sense, but it's still at the end of the day, it's still consciousness. Everything is still consciousness. You are directly connected to consciousness, to an outer source. But that source is actually you. So consciousness, what I know, and I do read an awful lot, and it's often not the internet, it's actual text, which is why I started this channel too, just because like the reading and all the downloads I get, I'm like, well, I have to find a place to put them. So here's what I'm saying is could you in this lifetime, even as you've known it, okay, and consciousness never dies. Energy does not die. It can even be transferred, I'm sure. And we know that the elites underground know how to, and the people that I've flown even know how to do these things, okay? Hundreds of years advanced to what we can only think of here because everything's so deceptive. So anyway, what I was saying is everything is consciousness. So consciousness wants a life form. It wants to exist. It wants an experience. And you sell yourself short when you get angry with the adversary, the opponent of the video game, if you will. When you waste your time on that, you're not raising your vibration. You're not doing yourself a service, your soul, because you're a soul, and that's without a you for me. For me, it's connected because I'm connected to the sun. So, so consciousness wants to. You can beat it and beat it and beat it. It wants to exist. It wants to exist. So, could you have in this lifetime had a situation? Have you ever had a situation like, let's say, like near death? You could even remember it, Uh, and let's say you had a situation and or something you survived and you shouldn't have, you know, could it not be that as in Alice in Chains, as they said, that you went down in a hole, a lost soul down in a hole because you wanted to exist. And unfortunately, it could have been a low vibrational state in which you were in because you're clinging on for existence. And we don't really have control. Well, I shouldn't say that. I rephrase that. Maybe before who knows when that happened, you didn't really have control of which existence you would enter, right? And then that's where it gets really weird because, and that's when we look to the bad guy because we didn't ask to be here. We didn't ask for this, and I could do the whole prison thing, the prison planet. I don't know. I just don't want to be, I just don't want to get too negative and uh too derogatory and negative, and you're existing here. So if we have to be here for now, let's try to spin this in a different light. Yes, it's a sort of it's interesting that I don't want to say the word prison, but what's interesting to me is a lot of times I think about the the cell, right? The cell, your phone. And they say, from what I understand, is that the humans will become so ignorant that they essentially help create and build their own prison. Did we do that with cell phones? I mean, it's just ironically called a cell. I mean, yes, cellular. However, it's just, you know, I, I would encourage you to get away as much as you can from the digital. And that's why I'm a little wary of doing things online and creating this even digitally. I don't have another way to do it. However, um, it's, tread with caution because they are recording everything. And that's why it's a laptop because they want it on your lap. They want to scan the whole body. Your body area energy extends for feet. You are a body inside of a soul, not a soul inside of a body. So this is huge. This is huge, and this is all outside of you and emanating through your two little black cubes, decoding the binary system, the grid. And that's all I want to talk about just for a second was Alice in Chains Down in a Hole. And I love to see you guys' comments. So I'm kind of like learning who everyone is. And I'm very, very limited. They are very strict with me. So if somehow this got to you, I don't know, it's a miracle. It was meant to be. That's all I can say. Because I've even looked just as on a different account. I've had a couple people say I can't find you. I don't know when have a new video. It just, and I think inverted language has a lot to do with it as well. Um, I don't think the Zodiac is the issue. I think the inverted language and well, just the algorithm is picking up the terms, right? And also, I do mention that I've flown the elite on several videos without a lot of details. However, I just think that all these are red flags and it just doesn't, and whatever. I don't really care. I don't really care. I'm still going to come to you. I'm still, and this video thing is weird. And this is my house in New Orleans. And I kind of just wanted to talk about that just so that you know a little bit of background. It's not ego driven. It's not ego driven, but you should know who I am and that I come from a very esoteric, spiritual background. And, I'm doing this obviously for me as an outlet to share things with you when I decode things, when I get messages, and on the Zodiac, uh, for me. However, it's for you as well, I hope, because I want to enlighten. We are here, so we might as well become enlightened, okay? Empowered, raise our vibration. Okay, we can do this. I think that when we get stuck on these truther channels, when we get stuck on these truther channels that are saying it's a prison, it's a hell, and it's awful, I know you think you resonate with that. And I get it. I totally get it. But what's happening when you do that? And when you're searching the mud floods and the architecture, it's kind of fascinating, yes, but it could be that that architecture was just here when you got here. If it's a holograph or a simulation, it was all here when you got here. Or when you woke up from what you thought was a dream and you slipped into this dimension, down the black hole, which pretty sure who the ruler is of this. I mean, all the deities are, but Saturn, the Saturn is air. Uranus is air. We're in the age of Aquarius. And actually, that was in 2010. There was a huge shift of moving into Aquarius. I don't care what anyone says. It's not Pisces. It is not. That is another part of the deception. You are in the age of Aquarius, and you don't even really genuinely know what year you are in. The Gregorian calendar is all it's based on the fiscal system and bureaucracy. I've flown the hedge fund guys who run that whole deal. It's all tied into the zodiac. It is all tied into the zodiac. Okay, the Vatican the Jesuits are all about the zodiac. So my battery's dying here. My charge is dying. This is just a really quick another video, and I do like to wear a hat. It is cold. This is an older home. It's cold, and I feel a little bit kind of incognito. It kind of helps me to feel like I'm throwing off the system. Probably not. Anyway, guys, more than another. I have like two or three videos, really on language a lot too, tied into the zodiac and always esoteric. It's interesting when I move. I feel like I'm just a spirit. Well, which you are, isn't it? Aren't you? Excuse me. You are. That is you. You are, so I'm coming to you etherically, spiritually. And I love to see you guys comment and signing off. And I have another one for you soon. Thanks. Thanks, guys.